Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of things have happened. We had Deku. Deku, he was put through a few things. Now, in the Savage Lands, Skrulls showed up for the secret invasion, and they have begun attacking the entire world. Now, we had a bit of a mirror match. The heroes faced off against their younger counterparts, and the Skrulls used incomplete data to try and replace them, or distract them. It's hard to tell. Jessica Drew was a Skrull, and Deku he was stabbed by her before she left. She was a Skrull queen, and another Skrull came in to take her place. And Deku, he killed that one. He felt angry, he felt betrayed, and whenever he got back home, he had to replace his web shooters. They were lost in the Savage Lands. And Deku, he encountered a Skrull that not only took on Jessica's appearance, another Skrull in the house took on the appearance of his dead father. And that definitely put Izuku in a very bad spot mentally. But then something else happened. The Skrull that impersonated Toga, or the Skrull that impersonated Jessica, I don't know why that sentence was so hard to get out, it turned into Toga. It knew from Deku's room that Toga was somebody important to him. However, the Skrull didn't know that she was dead. And Deku, he killed the Skrull on the spot. He didn't look at it, and then he killed the other Skrull in his home. However, currently, the Howling Commandos, they showed up in New York City, and they are trying to get things properly put back into order. These heroes are trying their best. And the 50-state initiative, it might have still been more or less into its infancy, but if it wasn't for that initiative, right now Skrulls would probably be swarming New York City. And that definitely does say quite a bit. New York City was already being challenged, being put to its breaking point. But the heroes here, they're fighting like there's nothing else left, because there very well might not be. Now, with that being said, we do cut back to Deku. Deku was last seen facing off against a Hulk, a Skrull with the powers of the Hulk. And that definitely said quite a bit. A number of things have been happening, and right now, Izuku, he's letting off his aggression. Most people know Spider-Man for holding back, but some are seeing a savage beast in his place. And Deku, he is relentless. He rushes forward and smashes into the Hulk with all he's got. He sends out blows that actually stagger the Hulk, knock him back, and people can see it. Deku, he's not here to play. He's here to kill. And Spider-Man is seen being relentless. However, he's not invincible. And that is a lesson he's been made aware of. Deku, he dodges. He makes sure to stay out of the way. And the Hulk, he is annoyed. His big and bulky frame versus an agile and fast person is not the best. And Deku, he is going to dodge into the Hulk. Him bringing his hand out and smashing directly into the side of the Hulk's right leg. Him going to do so as the Hulk is going to somewhat turn and put his weight down. He tries to put his leg back straight. However, it buckled. And Deku does actually get a turn. Him bring his hand up. And now climbing onto the Hulk's back, before going to turn and bring his fist out, smashing it directly into the Hulk's ear. Before Deku, he is actually going to throw his hand outwards in front and blast out his spiderwebs into the Hulk's face. And the Hulk, yeah. Whenever he does going to try and bring his hands out to try and grab the webs, he is met by a surprise. These things are sticky. These things are, there's too many of them, and he can't pull this stuff off, and it's getting harder to breathe. And Deku, he does hang on. Right now, he tries to get the Hulk to move, and he makes him rush forwards. The Hulk starting to charge down into the city. As many of the Skrull, they are either flattened or move out of the way. And Deku, whenever the Hulk finally does get a kill over, he does get to lay there. And Deku, he actually is going to turn, staring at many of the other Skrulls. And a Super Skrull currently starts to fly towards Deku. And Deku does get a rush forwards, him smashing his fist out into it, and finding that he hits something very sturdy. before he is going to dodge backwards and out of the way of a set of claws. And Deku, he actually does get a turn. Him missing whenever he does get to dodge a blast and tries to fire a shot with his web shooters. He aims for the mouth, and the Skrull blasted out fire. And that made Deku's awareness of the situation a bit more there. He was looking to see whether or not the Skrull had any abilities that would be bad for him. And Deku, he found it. And right now, Deku, he does get to look around. He does get to jump backwards and onto the building. Him going to walk backwards and actually trying to get the Skrull's attention. Before he does a shout out for anyone who can counter fire. And if they'd like to try and switch partners. And some people do get to look around. As someone, they actually do come up. As right now, Firestar, I believe her name is, does get to turn and blast out her hand. Her actually trying to fight the Skrull as Deku, he does get to turn and look for their partner. As right now a Skrull does come rushing forwards looking like Ben Grimm. And Deku, he has to leap directly up and smashes into the Skrull as it tried to attack Firestar. And Firestar does get to turn her head watching that. As Spider-Man, him and the Hulk, or him and the Skrull, do go flying down into the ground. As the two go smashing down, and Deku, he has to pull back his fist, smashing into the Skrull's face as hard as he can. And he's actually denting into the ground. And then Deku, he actually has a turn. Him going to see a few people. As right now there is Nick Fury. And he's currently firing his gun as he is trying to bark orders to people on the comms. And someone, they do come running up. Them going to actually hold out something as Deku, he goes to look down at it. Him going to bring his hand out as his spider sense does not go off. Him grabbing onto the earpiece and putting it up into his ear. As Fury, he does a shout out. Spider-Man really picked a hell of a time to change the costume, didn't he? It's to make sure they don't know I'm not a Skrull. What? Sorry. Adrenaline is too high. It's so they don't confuse me for a Skrull. You have my other costumes, but not my stealth costume. That's it. Smart choice. Listen, kid. I know who you are. I don't care. Here's the deal. Stark Tower, get there. Get us something. Something? Anything. We're trying to get our communications back up and online, but that's still being difficult. We need you to improvise. We need a way to communicate en masse. Now. Where's Jessica? Kid, she's the Skull Queen. I'm sorry. Right now, we don't have time for that, and I want to kill her. What? I'm going after her. She messed with my head too much. And I'm done. I've had too many things happen, too much. That's it. I am done after this. Where is she? Kid, Stark Tower. I haven't gotten the information yet, but once I get it, I'll pass it along. Got it? Yes, sir. Deku's gonna turn, and right now he actually is gonna make his way for the tower. And some of the Skrulls, they do see Spider-Man. Some try to attack. However, Deku, whenever one actually is going to try to throw out his hands to blast him, Deku goes to pull back his foot, kicking it as hard as he can and knocking its skull clean off. Before Deku, he actually does have somebody take a picture of him. And right now, Deku, he does go swinging upwards into the air. As there is, we also hear a scream. Him going to look down, as right now a Skrull is making its way towards someone. And Deku, he actually does go blasting down, firing out his webs as the Skrull does have one of its legs webbed to the ground. And going to turn and look down at that. Before it is going to bend down, Deku, he's already there. Right now grabbing onto the Skrull, and then actually going to turn and throw him as hard as he can. Him being smashed into another Skrull, as the hero who is being attacked, they turn and look at Spider-Man. Deku going to bring up his thumb as he turned back to the person. Ask them if they were okay. Stay away from me. I'm Spider-Man. Don't worry. You're safe. Run, now. Thank you. The person going to turn and run off. As Deku, he turned and went back to what he was doing. Him throwing out his hand and going to shoot a web. Him pulling himself up into the air and sending himself flying. And there currently is where Deku, he does it to bust his way directly into Stark Tower. And right now, Deku, he does try to do a few things. He tries to see if Jarvis is online. However, Jarvis, yeah, he's not really there. And Deku, he does try to do a lot. Whenever Jarvis can't be brought back online, Deku, he attempts to try and repair him. And whenever he does say exactly how fucked Jarvis' system was, he does do one thing. He looks around. He tries to look through Tony Stark's entire lab. And whenever he does finally come to something, he finds a system. He finds a system and grabs onto it. Him going to upload it into the computer, and then the Stark network does start to come back online. It began to boot up. As Deku is going to hear it, give its designation. It is known as Friday. How may it be of Friday? Yes. Hello. Designation Spiderman. Access maximum. Now, I need you to do a few things. I may not comply with that request. Excuse me? I am programmed to listen to Tony Stark, and I also do not understand who you are. You are not verified as a user. You may use basic systems. Of course. Of fucking course. Listen, I don't know whatever programming is in your core or baseline codes, but right now Mr. Stark is going to die. He is stuck in the Savage Lands, and he is without power or armor. All his armors, from what he said, might be fried, so check that for me and understand. If you do not follow my instructions, Tony Stark may die. Now, Friday does take about a second to process what Deku said. It runs Deku through filters, and even tries to check his pulse, the way his tone was in voice, the aggression, everything. And Friday does get to conclude. Izuku Midoriya is telling the truth. Because it checked into the armory and even most of Stark Industries systems, and a lot of shit was down. And Friday, she immediately acts as if Deku has full access. And she tries to at least ask what she can do. And Deku tries to tell Friday what to do. As currently heroes, they're beginning to hear voices. And some of them, they're not really sure what's going on. However, Deku, he is beginning to broadcast orders for Nick Fury through radios. And New York City, they just happen to have a lot of bad traffic. So there's always a car nearby. Heroes will always hear somebody. And Fury, he tries to give out a rallying call. And right now Izuku, he does try to get to work. He's trying to help the best way he knows how. He's trying to make sure things don't go bad. And that does say quite a bit. Deku has the idea to try and get Friday to repair a Stark armor set, and then send it out to Tony Stark. But that could be intercepted or destroyed. There's too much air traffic outside, and that does say something about it. And Deku, he does try to tell Friday about what to do, possibly sending the armor as high as it can into the atmosphere and heading to the Arctic that way. And Friday, she is trying to find the best route for this entire thing. But Deku, he does at least try to ask Friday to search all systems and anywhere she can for the Skull Queen. He wants her to find Jessica Drew, and he wants her to give him her exact location. Now, Deku, he does gotta wait. And right now, Friday, she is trying to scan and go through a lot of things. And Deku, he does get to hear Nick Fury on his earpiece. Him trying to ask him, what is it? Kid, information got intercepted. What? Information was intercepted. Get back down here and fight. No. Excuse me? I said no. I only took that order from you because I thought you could help. Now you can't. I'm done. Deku gonna turn. Him gonna actually turn and throw out his earpiece. As right now, Deku, he actually does gonna wait. And then Friday does gonna tell Deku exactly what he wanted to hear. Now, Deku, he does try to get some information. He heard about where she might be, and that meant a lot. However, there actually was the Earth's heroes. Many people were trying to fight. However, Deku, he found out exactly where they were. Because Janet Van Dyne has been turned into a living bomb. Her body is being used and is exposed to a formula. One that will increase her size, but not for a long period of time. and her body may become unstable in the process. And right now, she is trying to do whatever she can, try to figure out the best way to stop herself exploding, destroying the entire area. And Deku, he does actually come swinging in. As right now he is up in the air, there actually is where Janet, her body goes to explode. And Deku, he actually has feel his spider sense ring off louder than he's ever heard. Before, Deku, he actually has to let himself fall far. Him going to do so, as the building he's right about to land on, it doesn't actually explode. The glass blowing out as Deku, he sent flying. However, Deku does try to shoot out a web, he hits onto something and smashes into the wall. Him smashing through the building, as right now Deku, he actually is going to cut his web and he does going to fall. Him going to sit there for a second and try to breathe. His ears are ringing. He can't hear anything. And right now he doesn't understand what to do. The building is shaking again. And then things, they feel like they're going to fade. But Deku, he does try to stand back up. And right now Deku, he does try to keep himself going. He needs to get her, take her down, find out where the real her is. That's not Janet. Not Janet. That's not Jessica. That's just a fucking Skrull. And that gives Deku everything he needs. As right now Spider-Man, he is actually going to leap out of the building. And after he does a swing away, the ground starts to shake again. And other buildings start to collapse. Now, Izuku, he does come swinging in. As there is a Skrull Queen. She's facing off against the actual Wolverine. And a few other heroes. And Deku, when he does actually see Jessica, he does come flying in. And Wolverine, he actually sees Spider-Man smash directly into her, and the two go flying into the ground. As Deku, he finally has to pull back his fist and smash it out directly at her. As he does scream out where exactly the real Jessica is. And the Queen doesn't want to stare at Izuku. Her going to shapeshift back into Jessica Drew, before informing him he needs to stand down. That is a direct order from his queen. And Deku does get to yell out, "Shut up!" There actually is Logan. Logan has seen feral animals fighting. He's seen beast, and he's seen man. And right now Deku, he's not fighting like a man. He's fighting like a spider. And Jessica, she does try to take advantage of Deku's mental instability. As right now whenever she does get to take on the face of Himiko Toga, Deku does get to have his eyes widen. Him directly staring at her. Jessica does get to do one thing. She goes to actually throw directly out her knee, smashing directly up into Deku's nuts. As Deku does get to kill over in pain, and right now fall to the side. Him actually going to get back up. As Jessica, she does get a turn. Her going to bring her hand up, and right now going to pop a set of claws. As she does at least go to express the healing factor of Wolverine, and something close to adamantium. It might not be perfect, but a shot ringing out. And right now Deku, he does actually watch the Skrull. As part of her head, if not half of it, is gone. And Deku, he actually does watch her body fall to the right. As he actually gets someone set up. Him staring at the Skrull. It's actually dead. No, she had his answers. Him turning his head. And right now he does see Norman Osborn. And his eyes widen. Norman fucking Osborn saved his life? And Deku, he gets angry. I'm gonna stand. And right now he does a yell out. He can't be serious. And some people do just turn and stare at Deku. As he does to yell out. How could the Green Goblin save his life after he made him murder? What? You killed. You're a killer. You got someone I know killed. You murdered her. You made me fail. Calm down, Spider. You do not say that. If I see the Green Goblin one more time, I'm fucking murdering him. And you along with him. Now, some people do get a step in front of Deku. And Deku, he's stopped by Captain America and Wolverine. As right now Wolverine, he has a stare on Deku. And Deku, when he has to turn his head and his face is seen by his exposed costume, Logan, he goes to talk about it. The kid's gotta stay calm. Remember, he's got to keep his cool. I mean, doesn't the kid want to say something? What do you call it again? Hakuda Matata? And Deku, he stares directly at Logan before telling him, if Norman Osborn does some fucked up shit, it's on him now. He's stepping away. He's done with all this. And Deku does a turn. Him walking away. Deku's tired. He's hungry. And, mentally, he's been taxed more than he wants to admit. He headed home. And the Earth's heroes, they were brought back to Earth. A ship in orbit contained their original selves. The Skrulls, yeah, they were easy pickings for the heroes in space, especially whenever the real Thor showed up on Earth again. And that man, Captain Marvel, I mean, that's just two of them. And those two, they already could take out a pretty good portion of the Skrull armada. And Deku, he was back at home. Deku, he hanged up his costume, and he thought about what to do. He had notes, things to look at, things to study. The idea to remove his powers has once again turned its ugly head. And Izuku, he's not too sure what to do. He's not too sure what to say. The idea in his head is definitely something. Izuku can try a cure on Kane. Kane can be his guinea pig. The two are almost an exact DNA match. So if Kane dies, Izuku knows he'll die, but then he'll be stuck with his powers. But I mean, if Kane is depowered, then Izuku can be depowered as well. And it's just a simple matter of the radiation that gave him his powers, and how to cure the exposure to that. Now, Deku, he does it to get to work. And right now, Jessica Drew, she came back to Earth. She knew where she left off. She knew exactly where things were. The Superhuman Registration Act. It just got signed into office. It was just put in place. And that means a number of things. Jessica was taken before Civil War, and Deku and Jessica got together during Civil War, after the act was put into office. Now, that means a number of things. Jessica Drew remembers her and Izuku being friends, not lovers, or in a relationship, in the best way of saying it. Now, Izuku, he was definitely surprised whenever he heard a knock on his window, and he turned his head. I'm going to see Jessica Drew. And Deku, he actually stood up and walked over, unlocking the window and turning back around and walking back to his desk. Him going to turn his head and see an envelope. As Izuku looked back directly at his work, I'm going to actually start writing out a few more things. And that's where Izuku, he heard Jessica climb in. Her going to stretch before she's going to sit down, pulling up her mask, and asking him, So what? I heard about the Skrull. What'd you hear? Enough. Yeah. She played me. I heard about that. I thought she was you. For almost an entire year. Do you know what that did? Deku turning his head. And right now Jessica is going to stare at him. Deku's annoyed. He's angry. But he's too tired to be angry anymore. He's just running on fumes. And she can tell. It's well apparent in his face. Deku, he looks a little old. But that's just the exhaust in his eyes. And Deku, he does get a turn, expressing to her. He's done. Ben's Spiderman now. What? I'm sorry, what? I'm done. He can be Spider-Man. I don't care. I'm just done. I can't do this. I wanted to have responsibility with my powers. I wanted to do good things. be a hero, be a superhero. But what did I get? I get to be an outlaw. I get to be a killer. I get to chase down supervillains who want to ruin my life or kill me. And I've even ran into villains who genuinely convince me that I'm losing my fucking mind. You want to talk about it? Not with you. I can call Ben or Julia. Not with them either. I'm turning back, telling her. They've probably seen the exact same thing. A telepathic scroll with shapeshifting. That's all they would need. All they really need to confuse any of them. So, if she thinks that the scrolls are above psychological warfare, think again. He's not bothering them with this because he knows the full story. They don't. They don't know everything, not even what's in his head. They're bits and pieces fragmented. They're him, but they're themselves too. Izuku, you don't sound like you're making sense. I was going to say doing well. I'm not. If you want me to go, I will go. Call me to talk. If you can't see me, you can at least listen to my voice. I can't. I can't do this. Him turning and looking directly at, well, Jessica. And she does stare at Deku. Right now, Deku, he does try to think. Giving up these powers would make him human. They'd take away that responsibility, take away this burden. But right now, she's back. He could try to continue where they left off, or where she left off, and build back from there. I mean, yes, things will actually be real, different, but will that be better? I mean, they could try, but he doesn't even know she likes him that way. And that could have just been an entire ploy with a Skrull to fuck with his head. I mean, he and her being the Skrull queen, and him being this king or servant or guard or whatever, to her, it made sense in his head. He can understand the logic. Two heroes you replaced at one time in the past. One is trusted, one's a skeptical buy-in. I mean, you can buy into the idea that Superman, you can buy into the idea that Spider-Man is still himself, still super, still human, and still an idiot. I mean, the guy's a goofy fuck, so there's that. And Deku, he's well aware as to what exactly it would be like. Being a Skrull would have made a bit more sense if he was one, but it didn't. He wasn't replaced, and that's his biggest question. Was it because of his spider sense or what? Or is he still just a fucking Skrull? He bleeds red. He knows that. That's his key. That's what he's got to remember. And Jessica, she's gonna leave. And Deku, he does go back to his research. However, Jessica, she does have to call somebody, and at least inform them about something else. And Deku, while he does have to work on his cure, there currently is Morlin, the inheritor. Morlin, he wanted to come here to try and attack Spider-Man. However, with everything happening, it's been a bit chaotic. He picked up a heavy scent. However, that scent was gone. Wherever it was in that universe, wherever it was in that timeline, there was a massive amount of Spider-Man for just one day. But now they're all gone. And that makes him dissatisfied. He wants to head back to that universe, attack that Spider-Man. But exactly how will it go? He could try to take him on one by one. take him out. I mean, he's been paying attention, watching, waiting, like a hunter. And he actually does want to keep on guard. He'll wait for somebody else to attack first. Because if he's right, then that person, they may actually be able to kill Spider-Man. But Deku, whenever morning does come around, he does head to school. And he tries to figure a few things out. He headed there like everything was normal. But he forgot that yesterday there was an alien invasion, and school was cancelled. So Deku, he went out for a walk. Deku, he went out to try and clear his head, try and get a few things straightened out in his mind. All last night he could not sleep, and whenever he finally did, it didn't feel restful. He felt haunted. And today is just Izuku. There's no Spider-Man. And the idea to retire in Deku's head, it does make him question himself. Being a superhero, it does have its ups and downs. But what Deku's been through, he feels like he's been a punching bag. The universe just decided to fuck him over. and he doesn't know why. And Deku, he just feels guilty. He feels guilty for everything, thinking back on it. I mean, he thought he was getting better. He thought he was getting over this feeling he had. But then it all came back. Too fast, too much, and that's what made him want to give up. He got beaten down. Just too hard this time. He couldn't stand on his legs. He couldn't recover. He couldn't reassure himself. He just collapsed. And that was it. Spider-Man collapsed and he couldn't stand on his own two legs. That's what happened to him. Deku doesn't feel like he can be Spider-Man. And that definitely does gotta worry him. As Deku, he has to walk through a park. Him heading down the street. As Deku, he does see a bank robbery. Him watching what happens as he does see Spider-Man swing in. And Deku, he has to turn and walk directly into the diner. As he was gonna have a cup of coffee. And a good lunch. He's gonna try and recover? No. Quit. Ben can be Spider-Man. Julia is... what was her name again? Her alias? That's a little confusing. I forgot. Maybe heading home. Talking to Mom would be nice. Would be good. Tell her he's going back to school. He's going through something. He just needs time off. Yeah. Maybe being left alone would be good. But he's fairly certain that she might be shaken up too. So, there's definitely that. Focus on Izuku Midoriya, not Spider-Man. The idea does sound nice. And maybe it might give him some time to properly think. I mean, the decision is not permanent yet. I mean, he can see how the world does without him and go from there. If it's still there, then another week. And that week can turn into another. And then another. And then another. Now, Deku does get to enjoy his lunch, as currently they come to walk over and sit down. And Deku, he is greeted by the reporter, Ochako Yuraka. And right now she's actually a bit more surprised to see an old friend from high school. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.